Hello, hello. That is a giant ass tea or a giant ass whiskey. I'm a big fan of my tea, but I wouldn't mind if it was a giant ass whiskey. Maybe I would mind. In fact, I probably would mind. I take it back. That would hurt. But I don't mind a little bit of whiskey. Why are you drinking black piss? Good for the heart, good for the soul. I think everyone should be drinking it. It's snowing here and someone pulled out in front of me in my complex. I managed to stop though before we hit. I mean, good that you were able to stop, not good that they pulled out in front of you. Yeah, driving in snow gets a little complex, gets a little wacky. I think driving in the snow makes driving a little more fun. I'm not a wild driver like I used to be. But I appreciate the added challenge. I don't mind it too much, although I would prefer to have a better car for it. Oh, I prayed to you, by the way. Thanks, Jackson. That's incredible. Is the prayer in the Discord, or did you just say it to yourself? Is there wild driving lore? Not necessarily. I don't know. I was not really wild driving, more just... Oh, here it is. Oh, just the acknowledgement that he prayed. Okay. More just carefree driving than actual crazy driving. On my Mazda, though, one of my favorite things to do... My Mazda was so fast. Holy shit. People... Me and my friends would try each other's cars out, and people didn't like driving my Mazda because it was so touchy with the gas pedal. So, when I was a young lad, one of my favorite things to do with my Mazda was to floor it. To get up to speed, and I would get up to speed so quick. Kinda dumb. I wouldn't be going on 70 on like a 35. Oh my god, I had friends who would do that. I had one particular friend who would occasionally give me rides to school during my sophomore year of high school. And he would almost always be running late. So we would be going... Luckily, our school was just kind of like one long road. We had to drive like... It was a good like 15-20 minute drive because it was on the other side of town, but we just had to take like one long road to it. And he would always be running late when he picked me up. So every day we'd be going down this road. It's a 45, and every day he'd be doing 70, 75 on it just so we could make it to class on time. So I was a dumb driver. There were much worse than me. But nowadays, I'm much better. I'm chill behind the wheel. Every now and then, I make a crazy turn. Oh, good. Jackson, is it okay if I pull up this prayer on stream? Well, I mean, it's in the server. It's coming up on stream now. Lord Zesty, I come to you a sinner and humbly repent for my sins. I believe that Zesty is Lord. I'm getting a little uncomfortable. I believe that Zesty is Lord. I believe you raised him from the dead. I will ask that Zesty come to my life and be my Lord and Savior. I receive Zesty to take control of my life, and that I may live for him from this day forth. Thank you, Lord Zesty, for saving me with your precious blood. In Zesty's name, amen. I have no words. That is one of the prayers of all time. Wow. Wow. Well, if you're ever kidnapped, we know who did it. I feel like I could be a pretty good cult leader if I really put my mind to it. I feel like I've studied enough cults to be able to do that. I wouldn't, because I just don't feel like... it'd just be a lot of trouble. You have to deal with all these people. Just seems troublesome. Outlook good. You can't ban Jackson. He didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong with a little prayer. No matter who it's to. This is my first sweet tea in like a month, so I deserve it. I would hate to get a speeding ticket though at that speed. Your friend goes, oh yeah, that'd be a bad one. That'd be a pretty bad ticket. One of my exes got pulled over for going 70 in a 35. And they just got let off with a warning. I think the secret is if you're just respectful, keep your hands on the wheels, on the wheel, as long as they don't ask you to do anything else. Just say yes sir, yes ma'am. My apologies. I mean, that's no guarantee that you're gonna get out of a ticket, but that's certainly helps. Anyway, also, big shout out to my brother for fixing my internet. I was having trouble right before stream. I was gonna start as early as I was gonna start at around 6:30, and then I ran into internet issues again. But he gave me a pod extension thing. It was in his room, but he let me put it in my room, and now my internet is good. So, Dub, my brother. Shout out to him. He's the reason we have a stream tonight. What happened to the headphones with the added kitty ears? The patch chewed the cord to them. I still have the ears, but I do not have the headphones. Which is unfortunate because I did really like them. I do still have the pink ones, but the sound quality in those are not very good. Like, it's noticeably worse than just even my regular earbuds. Yes, Mark is my brother. Rip headphones. Yes, indeed. I wonder if another thing with the pink headphones is that it would like they would like what's the term? I don't know the proper term, but they would draw too much power from my PC and then my audio would die. But I don't think I've tried them since I've upgraded my PC. Since I built my new one, so I wonder if they would work now. The main thing keeping me from using them is the fact that the audio quality is worse. But I mean, they looked fun. Save up my donations for a new headphone. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I miss those. I kind of miss those kitty headphones. They were cute. Maybe tonight I'll look for them. They're stored away somewhere. I should try the pink ones with my new PC. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into what I actually have planned for today. We're just watching some videos. I wasn't originally planning on watching a bunch of stuff about the LA wildfires, but Andrew Callahan came out with a video. Oh, thank you, Jackson. Or not Jackson, Jeremy. I'm so sorry, Jeremy. I think I said Jackson because I was talking about the LA wildfires. That's a whoops on my part. What was I saying? $1 revote. Hey, I still have the 4 other dollars you donated the last few days. So look, we're $5 closer to new kitty headphones. Why is your YouTube profile Kids See Ghosts? This is a profile I made... Well, probably around the time Kids See Ghosts came out. I made this profile many years ago. I made that the profile picture, and I just haven't really changed it since. And this is the profile I have YouTube Premium on, hence YouTube Premium in the corner. So it's what I use for streaming. Anyway, I wasn't really planning on watching a bunch of stuff about the LA wildfires, but content has I'm running out of clips for my clips channel. I need some more of those, and Andrew Callahan came out with his boots on the ground interview video for this situation. And yeah, I figured we'd check it out. You guys might actually see me cry on stream today because anytime I watch stuff about this, like I start tearing up a little bit. I suck it back up because I don't cry. I'm a man who doesn't cry, but I don't know. Maybe it'll be too much today. We'll see. We'll see. YouTube Premium is fire for sure. For sure. It's, I mean, shout out YouTube. They gave me 6 free months of it just for being a YouTuber, so that's pretty awesome. But after 6 months, I think April is when it runs out for me. I'll have to pay for it after that. I don't think I will. We'll see. Will Rogers' house burned down? Who's Will Rogers? But you're right, this shit is crazy. I saw people were starting to light their own fires. I literally watched a video as there's fires going on around them. They also started a new fire. That made me lose a lot of hope for humanity. Let me tell you. It's a historical house. Maybe we'll see it here. But this is Channel 5, Andrew Callahan. His editing team works fast. God damn. Like, this situation started, what, 3-4 days ago? Maybe 4 days ago? He's already got a video put together? I mean, his editing isn't, like, the craziest stuff in the world, but still. To be out there, gather all the footage, do all the interviews, get it all edited with music and everything. That's so impressive. Yeah, that's super sad. A lot of historical sites going down.
There was no help, no fire department. not in our area. We didn't see one until now that they're coming by.
On the flip side of that, I can sit there and say, well, you need to do something at the homeless encampments. A lot of the fires lately, especially in California, are the homeless. You also the mismanagement of the forest. It's just a situation like this. You had the Palisade fire start, and then you had this one start. You're stretching the resources.
The firefighters,
so there's two different fires going on, or like there were two different
but you're
points
really not going to stop
where the fire started?
Fire like this.
Bro, I've never seen anything like this. It feels like literally like an apocalypse. This is my old elementary, engulfed in flames right by my mom's house. Yeah, bro, everything just going to shit right now.
We were here over 40
There's like
years.
4 fires now? That's insane.
Just seeing stuff like this is...
Today I found out that Izzy's cousins, she has some cousins that live out in California. I don't think they live in it anymore. I don't really know what the situation is, but their like childhood home burned down. I don't know if they were still like partially living in it or what. There's a whole situation with, I don't know, but that burned down. So that's sad to see. I texted my friend Chris before stream to check on him. I haven't gotten a reply from him, but I think he already evacuated, so good stuff. Well, I mean, not good stuff, but like it seems like I mean, people are making it out at least.
It brings me to tears, bro. I just had to go water down my homie's house, took his bird. Homie was just chilling.
But literally chained up to a fence as the water was rising. Thank God, and he got arrested. Okay. I apologize. Are we back up? We should be back up. Seems internet is still a little spotty. We might have a couple moments of that. Let me run a speed test real quick. Yeah, look, we're not doing too hot. Luckily, download speed right now is not as important as upload speed. Like, look at that upload speed. How is that way faster than my download speed? That's insane. But yeah, I apologize. So, seems it's not perfect, but we only died for a little bit as opposed to the entire time. I apologize in advance if that happens again. Hopefully it doesn't. All right, let's jump back in.
California.
You're fucking Altadena, homie.
There's smoke and fire all around us.
10 people have been killed in the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles.
And the thing is about those 10 dead people is, like, that's just the people they know about. Like, how many, like, there's gonna be so many people who they just straight up don't know about. And how many people just are straight up cremated at this point? I mean, as we continue in this video, and if we watch a couple others, you'll see the metal on cars is literally melting. And that takes a lot of heat to do, to have it melt, and then not just melt, but like run. There's pictures of driveways where the aluminum off of wheels is literally running down the driveway. So if it's doing that to cars, like how many people are just straight up gone off the face of the planet? So I'm looking to the side here because I saw some frames dropped, but I think we're okay.
This is one of the 5 wildfires that have broke out in LA in the past 24 hours.
It just, I don't know, it just keeps sparking up back by itself. It just doesn't turn off.
As you can see,
It's causing brick and concrete homes to collapse.
Survive.
That takes a
Still
lot
on
of heat
fire.
too. Yeah.
Pretty depressing. We're going to talk to some people around here and see how they're being affected. So let's get into it.
My name's Susanna Larios, and as you can see, my house burned this morning. We just lost everything. Thank God that we're all alive, that we were able to evacuate and
Sorry, the video's not loading.
lost.
I'm going to try refreshing the page. I apologize. Damn, we are slugging along today. Let me tell you. Tough out here. Let me run another speed test. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. About the same.
This brings me to tears, bro. I just had to go watch.
Okay, we may have to watch. Well, we may have to watch this in 144p. Oh, this goes all the way up to 4K. Here, let's just lock it in at 1080. If that's too much, we'll do 720. Donations for faster internet. Yeah, we might be $5 further from Kitty headphones and $5 closer towards better internet. It's tough out here, man. I don't understand. This is a recent problem too. I only started running into it this week. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's the cold messing with the wires. I don't know. The last time we had internet issues, it turned out that squirrels were eating our cables. And we're eating the cable, chewing the cables, and storing nuts in like the panels. It's fucking insane the amount of people who have had valued items burned down. It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's not just the houses themselves. It's all the stuff in it. I mean, you have multi-million-dollar homes, but it's multi-million dollars worth of stuff within those homes. It actually makes me so sad. We gotta keep watching so I can focus on not thinking about it. Well, I guess I'm still thinking about it, but
Water down my homie's house, took his bird. Homie was just chilling. He left him there because he left him last night.
we'll let Andrew do all the thinking.
I can't leave animals there, bro. No animal, no life gets left behind.
Yo, what up? We were
It's
in
more the memories and
Altadena,
items that can't be
California.
replaced more than the structure. Well, the structure is pretty important too.
10 people have been killed in the devastating wildfires in Los Angeles.
This is one of the 5 wildfires that have broke out in LA in the past 24 hours.
It just, I don't know, it just keeps sparking up back by itself.
I mean, the memory sucks, but I feel
As you
like
can see,
having
unfortunately, this house
not
did
having a
not,
house sucks
survive.
way more,
Still on fire.
and it's not
Pretty
insured.
depressing. We're going to talk to some people around here and see how they're being affected. So let's get into it.
I can get into a whole rant about that.
As you can see, my house burned
Stream
this
died
morning.
again?
We just lost everything.
No, this time we're good.
Thank God that we're
This time
all
we're good.
alive, that we were able to evacuate and, go to safety until now that we return back to see our house gone. This is unreal. We've been here for 13 years. Everything is gone. We didn't even get a chance to actually take anything out of our house.
Was there anything in the house in particular that you feel like you're really sad about not being able to get?
Our family pictures.
There's your
our
point, Jeremy.
dog's ashes.
Ooh. Oh, I don't even want to make the joke. I don't even want to make the joke. I might make a couple jokes tonight, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make some of them. Ooh.
We had them cremated and they were in our house, and just those personal belongings. Everything else is material.
Double cremated.
It can be replaced, but memories, when they were young, my kids were young, I will never get those pictures back.
What's one of your favorite memories here?
We had a pool, so
Yeah.
family times, barbecues, summer. This is the place to be. I think
It sounded like a silly answer at first, but
our dog decided to jump in, so we went after
He
him.
actually fell in
That
the
turned
pool,
really
and we
wholesome.
Went in a swampy pool and rescue him from drowning.
Oh, you did?
Because he didn't know how to swim, and he was running around in a circle and fell in the pool. So
Was that the same dog whose ashes was in there, or a different dog?
No, it's the same.
Nike.
Yeah, the same. Yeah, the same matches.
What kind of dog was Nike?
A bull terrier.
Yeah, that's the bull.
We had a pool table over there. It's gone. This is the back house to the house.
Man.
Can't see not even one room. It's a two-story
Just the
house.
concrete stairs
Fire insurance,
remain.
Is that something that you had?
I hope so. I mean, yes, that's one of the things I remember talking to our agent. You know, State Farm.
Ooh, I know what's coming up next. Assuming he talks about it. Maybe he doesn't. Ooh. Let's see. If he doesn't talk about it, we're going on the rant.
And yeah, hopefully we do have that insurance.
State Farm canceled
There we go.
homeowners insurance policies for residents in many of the same areas in the path of the Southern California wildfires. The insurance company's reasoning for canceling policies was due to concerns about the increased frequency and magnitude of wildfires in the state. The company deemed the decision a necessary business strategy to prevent, quote, financial failure.
You know, I sent her the picture of the house when it was burning. So, you know, she's going to give me our policy number and help me out with whatever I can.
Well, I hope that insurance covers a lot of this stuff. That's what it's supposed to do, right?
Yes, I hope so. We'll see what happens when we reach out to them, if they can help us. But everything else, it's gone.
Do you have an email address for people out there who might want to help you and get in touch with you?
Sure. It's Estrada.
I'm just waiting for it.
STRADA_S@yahoo.com.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I know it's a sensitive time, so thanks for giving us the time of day.
I wonder if he's going to keep going.
Unlike the Pacific Palisades area on the west side, an affluent area where many celebrities' homes unfortunately burnt.
Okay, I don't think he's going to go in more depth about it. So, State Farm. Let me see if I can actually pull up an article about it. Or maybe a video. Okay.
Well, State Farm is being accused of canceling thousands of fire.
Okay. Here we go.
Well, State Farm is being accused of canceling thousands of fire insurance policies in California right before the massive wildfires.
And more at 10, thousands of homes and businesses have since been destroyed as wildfires do continue to ravage parts of Los Angeles County.
Yeah, Shabnam Dinesh looked into these accusations and joins us now. So, Shab, what were you able to find out?
Now, Thomas,
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is not there.
With some even calling for violence against executives. So I reached out to State Farm to get the facts.
Ooh, not a good look after all the health insurance debauchery. Yikes. Ooh, insurance has been getting it. If there's one good thing to come out of just all the evil and malevolence as of late is insurance is, I mean, they've been under the heat for a while, but they've been getting absolutely roasted lately, and I really, really hope that some form of change comes. Because it's so messed up to be paying people. I like how on the side there's me over here. Sorry, that threw me off. It's so messed up how you're paying these people all this money every month, just in case you have an emergency. And then the emergency comes and they're nowhere to be found. And to an extent, I get it. Like in a place that's susceptible to fires, you know, it's going to be harder to insure those people because they're prone to this issue. And then if that issue does come up, as it has, you know, that's going to be hemorrhaging money out of the insurance company. And same thing for health insurance. The way health insurance makes money is they are more willing to, they weigh a lot of risk, I guess is what I'm about to say. They have to weigh like the risk reward of the different people on their insurance. So it's gonna it's gonna be much easier to insure someone who's not at very high health risk, and then the high health risk people it's gonna be really tough for them to get insurance, and a lot of times they're more likely to get denied coverage. And it's such a scam, dude. It's such a scam. Like at this point, like I think it's safe to call it a scam, because let's say that I told you, like, you give me a couple dollars every month, and I tell you, hey man, when you're hungry, I'll make you a sandwich. So I promise you a sandwich. You just have to tell me you're hungry, and you get that sandwich. But then I start making that promise to other people. Hey man, you want a sandwich when you're hungry? I'll make you a sandwich. One day, 20 people are lining up in front of me saying they're hungry. And now, I don't want to make sandwiches for all those people. I don't got enough bread. I don't got enough deli meats. So in one sense, I get it. But maybe in a realer sense, I shouldn't have been promising all these people sandwiches.
Turns out the Bloomington-based insurance company stopped accepting new fire insurance applications in California back in May of 2023. That's almost 2 years ago.
One thing I will say is I was under the impression that they canceled insurance like in the midst of all of this. That's what I thought was going on. This is still bad, but it's not as bad as I thought.
State Farm says the decision was driven by inflation, increasing frequency of natural disasters, and challenges in the reinsurance market. That's insurance used by insurance companies to reduce risk, covering major claims. Then in March of 2024, State Farm announced it was not going to renew 72,000 policies in California on a rolling basis. The company also contacts the customer in advance of their policy expiration date. Now, I asked a spokesperson for specific numbers in Los Angeles County, but was given the statement. Our number one priority right now is the safety of our customers, agents, and employees impacted by the fires, and assisting our customers in the midst of this tragedy. Now, California does have a state fire insurance program called the California Fair Plan, but those policies often have higher premiums and less coverage than private insurers.
Rebecca. So, I mean, we'll have to see if State Farm or other insurance companies actually want to step in and help with this debacle. I'll be honest, I'm not very helpful at this point. But I think out of all the things, that makes me the most mad. That these people who are struggling, who gave plenty of money for this specific purpose, now aren't able to get the help that they were hoping to be getting in the future when they were planning for it. And now that the event is here, they can't get that help. Ugh.
Down. Altadena is a diverse, working-class suburb located just north of Pasadena in the foothills of the Angeles National Forest. As we've seen, many in the area have
renter's insurance just in case something happens. In a lot of states, I think in Illinois is one of the states it's legally required to have
wildfires. However, many locals understand,
or if not legally required, a lot of
unprecedented, and that
a lot of places
first
where you rent
responders
from
are doing
require
everything they can to keep the fire contained, which is particularly difficult due to the state's crippling water crisis, a situation that by all measures is a direct result of climate change, overconsumption, and corporate greed. Many people don't know this, but LA and San Diego have been out of water for years and now purchase most of their fresh water from privatized corporations like the Wonderful Company, owned by a billionaire couple called the Resnicks, who systematically export drinking water from agricultural counties.
I only just started learning about this the other day.
Has already caused devastating ecological
I didn't know
and health
this.
impacts on communities like Bombay Beach, California, which we plan to cover in an upcoming video.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
I don't know. It all depends on if they can save the seed.
But back to Altadena.
Everybody stretched in from the Palisade fire to the Eaton fire here on the east side of Pasadena, over by the museum, the Silmar fire, 210. So it's everybody's already stretched thin and trying to cover all these hot spots. It's like, which way do you go?
Yeah.
So,
I heard that some of these firefighters have literally just been going for 3 days straight, no sleep. Kudos to them.
Stuff like this, there's no way to prevent it because how can you prepare for it? I mean, how can you prepare for it? And once the winds picked up, the embers traveled, and then the power lines going, one little ember plus high winds, just the smallest little fuel source is just sparked, whether it's leaves, canopies, from easy ups, anything like that, everything just went up.
Like many others, this concerned citizen that we talked to decided to take matters into his own hands and stay put to protect his neighborhood, despite evacuation orders issued by the city.
Me, I was born and raised here, my childhood home, so I did everything I could to save it. We're a pretty tight-knit community. My next door neighbors, we all grew up with each other since we were kids. A lot of my buddies are, coming through with supplies and generators. We managed to save, my dad's house, next door neighbor, and these 4 houses. With the help of some other guys, we wet all the roofs, the floors.
Got the fires out first. The fire started over here, and then my son and I, we just kept the water and kept all the ambers from jumping from house to house. So
we managed to save some houses on the back street, Navarro. We managed to save those with water hoses. We managed to survive, but, unfortunate for my other neighbors, they didn't make it. Yeah. All their stuff is gone. It hurts. Yeah, it hurts. Just gone. Nobody deserves it.
While some people were able to stay back and protect their homes from catching on fire, others followed city orders and evacuated, with the hopes that they'd get lucky and their house would be spared. However, most people in Altadena did not get so lucky. As you walk through the neighborhood uphill toward Angeles National Forest, nearly every structure is destroyed, aside from a select few. Here's an interview with National Forest. Nearly every structure is destroyed, aside from
The American flag survived. I don't know if it's a sign from God or what. But goddamn.
From a select few. Here's an interview with the recently evacuated family who returned home to find their house burnt to the ground. This is a very emotional interview, so viewer discretion is advised.
And this is what I was bringing up earlier. Look at those rims. Look at those tires. Straight up melted. Man, he's not even stepping in to talk to them. With the Good Kid, Mad City band.
Is this your house?
Yeah. We were here for over 40 years.
40 years, damn.
We had to evacuate early this morning about 3:30. There was we saw the fires, but we didn't think, that it was going to reach this low. We were just able to leave with whatever we had on and, a little bit of clothes, but not really. We lost everything we had in the house. Pictures, memories, everything's gone. We don't know what we're gonna do now.
So was it the embers coming from the mountain caused some of the houses?
Yes, because last night it was about, 5 o'clock when we saw the fire, or a friend, her sister drove by Eden Canyon and she took a video and she told us, but we didn't think anything of it until we started seeing that the fire started moving, quickly. But we didn't think, that it was gonna come down this far, but we just got up and left around 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
So about 12 hours ago.
Yeah. And the winds were really, really strong, and it was pitch black. So we panicked. So we just got whatever we could, because she has 2 little kids, my 2 little grandsons. We just got whatever we could, and we just left.
What was the most important item you think was in the house?
My parents passed away, so their pictures, her baby, her kids' pictures, I mean, but that's the least, of our problems. We got out alive and we're okay,
Aside from that, do y'all have insurance or anything like that?
No, we don't. We rented it. We didn't own the house, but we rented. But still, we lost everything. We don't know what we're going to do now. It'll take us time to pick up and, start over, but it's going to be hard.
If somebody wanted to donate to you to, offer you some help and some aid during a moment like this, is there any way that someone could do that? Like, do you have Zelle or something like that?
We have Cell that are connected to my husband's phone number. Mine is through email. It's L_Espinosa68@yahoo.com. Anybody that wants to help is deeply appreciated.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Man. I was getting close at the end there. God. I barely even have anything to say, really. I had this one pulled up too. 9,000 structures. I don't even know how to explain how to visualize that.
To you, what you see behind me
it's
here
just a lot.
is a pile of misery, and it is not unique. There are several communities and neighborhoods and residential areas that look just like this. This was a shopping center, and beyond that, a school, and now you can't even figure out what it is. Tonight, everyone in this area is praying that the winds don't pick up. A firefighter telling me that the smallest ember with those winds
25 starting off with the bank, yeah.
This is what the most destructive wildfire in Los Angeles.
I don't know. I just found it a little odd that just the fireplace is left standing. It makes sense.
Los Angeles history looks like.
Everything is gone.
The toll of the devastation is staggering. Thousands of structures already obliterated, more than authorities can even count. The burn area in the Pacific Palisades now bigger than
that's a shot.
Authorities can even count. The burn area in the Pacific Palisades.
This looks like this literally looks like
the fire killing 5 people.
I think the death toll will rise. I hope I'm wrong, but I think it's going to rise.
These apocalyptic conditions now in their 3rd day, and
this kind of looks like when the Covenant invaded Earth.
0% contained. This is one of the eeriest scenes we've seen so far. These are the cars that were abandoned when people got stuck in gridlock and had to run for safety. A bulldozer came through here to let fire crews out. Those cars were spared, but these cars right here.
Oh, the bulldozer video is crazy. I had that pulled up too. I want to watch it.
Us on the phone now is
I saw a little bit of it.
Who abandoned his car.
So basically, for context, people were evacuating, but so many people were evacuating at once that like traffic just came to a standstill, and it got to a point where people thought that they just ended up getting out of their cars and walking because they weren't getting anywhere. And so you have this street where for rows and rows and rows worth of cars. I'm sure they'll show it here. 12,000. Wait. Oh, I thought that was related to the cars itself, but there's just like this road was filled with cars. I wonder if we'll see footage. And they literally had to take bulldozers like this to move the cars around so that emergency vehicles could get through.
Earlier today, and that's exactly where Robert is. Adam, before we get to the property here, how are you doing?
Well, we're all fine. My wife and I and our dog are fine. We evacuated and we're with some friends in West LA. And as far as we know, our house is fine too. Car does not seem to be so fine.
Adam, we understand you were driving a black Audi. Is that the first one that's right there at the beginning of the dozer?
Yeah, that looks like the car. Yeah, that's it.
So describe this.
Literally his car getting pushed around.
Why did you have to get out and go?
So my wife and I were in the car with our dog, and we thought everything was going to be fine. We were just going to go down Sunset to PCH and just get out of there. But the flames started, like palm trees near us started catching on fire. and then some flames came down the hill to the point where they're maybe like 10 or 15 feet away. And either a fireman or a policeman, I think it was a policeman, started telling everybody, get out of your car if you want to live. And he wasn't, just telling everybody, get out of your car, leave things, leave the car. You need to go now, or the fire's going to burn you.
That had to be terrifying.
It was pretty terrifying, and the smoke was really thick, and there were like burning embers on the ground, and it was pretty scary.
So they're all nice cars too.
LAPD, I presume. What do you do at that point? You obviously abandoned the car. Where do you go?
So we actually had my wife and I were both out, so we had both come back, and my wife was driving that car, and I couldn't get to her, so I parked on PCH, and I walked up to her, like about a mile and a half, and so I had gotten to her, so we actually had another car, so we walked down PCH to the other car, and that's the car we took.
Yeah, I want to know where everyone else went. I mean, they're saying they had another car to go to take a different route.
Getting out of there.
Adam, do you know
But
the
that's
status
not
of
the
your
case
home
for
tonight?
probably anyone else.
As far as we know, for the people who haven't evacuated, the house is fine and doesn't seem to be in any immediate trouble. Our house is at the top of the hill.
I wonder if I can. Let me see if I can pull up a good image of just like the rows and rows of cars. Let me see if I can find one. Is this it? Oh, let me see if it's this one. Okay. I don't know how to make this full screen, so we'll just have to analyze this very closely. But that's what it looked like before this dude finished clearing out.
They took their keys.
Just rows and rows of cars, and I'm pretty sure this guy says that it goes on for like 300 feet.
Out of the way. So if this is your car, unfortunately, it's an emergency situation, and this is what they have to do. They are moving the cars as we speak. Unfortunately, there are dozens of cars. This looks like a movie set.
Oh, more than dozens.
LA County Fire, they have to do what they have to do. They need to clear a path. So literally, they're moving the cars, the SUVs. We're seeing Mercedes, very nice vehicles, Teslas up here, but that's because the car owners, they took their keys and they just started running. They left the cars here as the firefighters were trying to clear the pathway, clear the roadway. This is an emergency situation where, they need to get up to the homes. They want to make sure people are not trapped up there. But this line of cars probably goes about 300 feet deep, at least as long as I can see from this bird's eye view. So we're kind of staying back. They're in a situation here where they are literally moving these vehicles out of the way. Yes, it is causing damage, as you can hear from the screeching noises.
Damn, that's some loud screeching. And this guy's just got like rows and rows of cars to go through. God damn. Also, before I forget, it's right here. Perfect. Give this a like. That was a good video. All right, we'll watch this one, and that'll be the last wildfire thing to look at.
And today's stunning video showing the threat to Los Angeles' infrastructure as the Eaton fire approached the transmission towers on Mount Wilson, threatening radio, cellular, and broadcast signals citywide.
Jesus.
Roughly 2,000 firefighters are still stretched across the front lines, but it's not enough. Residents pitching in to save their own homes.
This is a tragedy. You just never think it's going to be you. And now that it is me, I can't tell you the amount of heaviness in this disaster.
We met the Champion family who lost everything.
What I would give to do dishes in our own house, which is like so basic, but things that you take for granted, all the life that we built here.
And the threat is not over. Last night, new fires ignited. near more heavily populated
Damn,
areas.
watch that helicopter just murk that fire, though.
Igniting. Near more heavily populated areas, the Sunset Fire.
So I heard they can't actually do a lot of that because of the heavy winds. It's just too dangerous to be flying helicopters around there. There's been points where it's slowed down enough where they can get in like a few rounds of this, but for the most part, that's just not really an option they can go with.
New fires igniting near more heavily populated areas.
But it's crazy to see how much that can,
near more
how effective that is.
Areas. The Sunset Fire triggering rush hour evacuations in the heart of Hollywood. Miraculously, a break in the winds let crews attack the fire from the air, stopping the blaze before it could reach homes. These firefighters are going non-stop, 60 hours battling more than just the flames.
How's your water pressure been? Water pressure's been a big issue. We have had hydrants, dead hydrants, so we've been having to go back to Sunset Boulevard to get water to come all the way out here.
The smoke hasn't cleared and anger is growing. Many questions loom. Was Los Angeles prepared?
We will absolutely do an evaluation to look at what worked, what didn't work, and to correct or to hold accountable any body, department, individual, etc.
Failing water pressure and hydrants leading to a heated moment. A fire victim challenging California's governor.
Why was there no
heated moment? A fire victim challenging California.
So one time when I was maybe 4, I used to live in a cul-de-sac. And there was a fire hydrant on the cul-de-sac. And one time it opened up. There wasn't a fire or anything. I don't know if someone if someone opened it up or if it just like happened on its own. I don't know what the situation is, but that thing opened up and it spit not fire. It spit water. I would guess maybe like 40 feet in the air. Like me and all the other kids in the neighborhood were running through it, just having fun. I don't know. I was a small child. It might have not have been that tall. But point is, that was like a lot of water shooting out of it. And here, look at this, just barely coming out. That looks like a normal hose.
California's governor.
Why was there no water in the hydrants, Governor?
That's all literally.
Is it going to be different next time?
It has to be.
While the cause of the fire
next time
is
is
still
fucked
unknown,
up.
the damage is incalculable. Before and after satellite pictures show the story. On the Malibu coast, a row of after satellite pictures show the story. On the Malibu coast, a row of multi-million-dollar mansions laid to waste. 40 miles away, this view from Altadena, a middle-class neighborhood dotted with destructive fires.
It's a wasteland.
For those coming back, home looks like a hellscape.
We couldn't even recognize it on our way up here.
It literally looks like
we're 1 block from our house because everything was so different. There's no
it literally looks like the first level of Doom Eternal.
There's a break in the weather. The winds were a bit more favorable today, but the situation is growing more serious this evening.
That's right. Firefighters are still working around the clock. Officials believe the death toll will likely grow as they check out more neighborhoods. And there's one more thing they're warning about tonight, and that is looters. If you can believe it, Lester, people are coming to areas like this and stealing what little people have left. So far, there have been at least a dozen arrests. Lester?
All right, Tom, thank you. The task of fighting such a massive area of fire is immense. And as Morgan Chesky reports, the struggle for water is complicating the fight on the front lines.
I'm surprised it's only a dozen arrests.
Relentless firefight far from over. Frontline crews facing challenges that only start with the flames.
What do we got going?
So what we have is the fire's already burned through here.
What we're looking at right now could have been caused by a single ember.
One ember could have caused this.
We join Los Angeles Fire Captain Adam Van Gerpen in the Pacific.
So we don't know where it started from quite yet. It could have been, natural wildfires happen all the time. And I hear the situation in LA is there's a lot of like dead bush and just dry wood and just like it's very dry out there. So very easy to burn. It could have happened naturally. Now, one hot day, sun's hitting just right, something starts on fire. But imagine being the person who started this all. If it was accidentally caused by a real person. It's very dry. You just touch the ground, it sucks the moisture out of your hand. Man, if this was started by a person, oh. Imagine being the guy who did this. Hold on, I just realized the door to my bedroom's open. Let me close that real quick. Like, remember a few years ago when another fire was caused by someone's gender reveal party? Imagine this situation if it was caused by something similar. That's a... Damn, one person could have made a mistake. You know, just got a little too crazy with s'mores suddenly. Suddenly, thousands of people's homes are gone. Thousands of people are homeless. All because of your s'more.
Pacific Palisades,
This hydrant has no water in it.
where lack of water, critical to battling a still active wildfire, frustrated crews. This one from San Francisco.
What should the water pressure be right now, ideally?
I mean, you want 50 to 80 is your ideal hydrant pressure.
And what have you got?
I'm bouncing between 0, 50. It's not a consistent pressure.
As nearby hydrants failed,
Damn.
water pressure fell. Firefighters above switching from offense to defense.
When you run out of water in that engine,
Not much we can do then. We came on, this is our first job for the day.
Flames burning for precious minutes before any reinforcements could arrive.
Had we had water earlier on in the firefight, we probably could have stopped it from getting this big.
this is something we have not seen often, but when the hydrants are dry, crews have to rely on these tanker trucks because the fire waits for no one.
The situation, a familiar one for the captain, a 25-year veteran of the LAFD. Mere blocks away, another call coming in for another home up in flames.
If we had any wind right now, completely different firefight?
100% different firefight.
Just feet away, $1 million view burned beyond recognition.
There's not even a single home from this entire viewpoint that we can see that has survived.
If you had officials in front
Crazy
of you
how a lot of the trees are still standing though. Not all of them, but a good number of
fire
them.
hydrants, more airdropping capabilities. We need more of everything.
Tonight, these crews doing whatever they can with whatever they have, fighting a historic disaster head on.
And Morgan, this all coming out of a red flag warning. Do those remain in effect?
Yeah, Lester, they absolutely do. And that's one of the big concerns of the crew we embedded with today. They tell us that one ember can travel up to 2 miles. And that is why until that red flag warning expires at 6 p.m. on Friday, everyone needs to stay on guard because a potential fire could pop up almost anywhere. Lester.
Morgan Chesky, thank you. And the view from space shows the magnitude of the fire in Altadena.
Jesus.
Part of the
This image gets me right here. Look at that. I don't even really know what to compare it to. That's like Harvey Dent's face right there.
Fire zone. And for so many returning home today, there was little left. Gotti Schwartz joins us. And Gotti, you spent the day in Altadena. What did you find?
Lester, heartbreak. We found so much heartbreak, people coming back to nothing left at all. In fact, this building right here, this is the outlier because this building still has walls up. So many of the homes that we visited today were down to the foundations, a bunch of melted metal and piles of ash.
In Altadena today, desolation and eerie silence, punctured by gas lines still spewing fire. In the destruction, there was a search for anything with meaning.
This is everything you own.
Everything. And then, you know, now we're just trying to find something. I mean, I don't care, like my kids found a teacup, half a teacup, broke. She was thrilled. You know, I mean, what else can we get, man? It's gone, bro.
As the flames descended at 4 in the morning, Rupert Garcia tried to fight back.
This tree caught on fire, Embers were flying all over the place onto the house.
One ember even scorching his cheek.
At what point did you realize that, like, I'm not going to save the house?
When my son-in-law grabbed me like this and said, no, we got to go.
Wow.
And I was like, no, man. And I turned around and I said, man, I can't go, bro. 51 years, man, I've been in this house.
Shortly after Rupert was forced to flee the neighborhood, we arrived to find what felt like a hurricane of fire. In the chaos, we spotted a horse alone and trapped in an inferno.
No!
This is firefighter Garrett Mora jumping to action.
I was keeping him cool. I sprayed some water around him. And
Today, when we met up with Garrett again, we learned the horse survived.
Not the horse.
Across the way, Jose de la Torre shows us what was the garage full of landscaping tools he had just invested in. Now his livelihood, along with almost everything else, gone in an instant.
Gotta save the
They
animals.
escaped only with the clothes on their back.
I didn't get anything. This is it. Look at my shoes. See? These are my house slippers.
Tonight, that is the shared and terrible reality.
You work hard for your American dream.
For so many in a community who came face to face with these flames. Gotti Schwartz, NBC News, Altadena, California.
And earlier in the broadcast, we told you about the looting happening in some areas, and now the sheriff announcing a curfew in the fire zones. Steve Patterson joins us. Steve, what more do we know?
Lester, the sheriff tonight saying there have been more reports of burglary, more reports of looting in fire zones like this. To combat that, more resources, more boots on the ground, including, we're hearing, the National Guard expected to be active in both the Eaton and
what even is there to loot?
And yes, a curfew, if not implemented tonight, then tomorrow night, starting at 6 p.m. every night to 6 a.m., with the goal being avoid more further victimization.
There isn't even anything.
People are already suffering so much. Lester?
All right, Steve Patterson, thank you.
The engine right here.
As wildfires continue to rage in California, one estimate says
If you're out there looting those houses, man,
$20 billion.
you're just dumb.
The loss is incalculable.
That's not even a good business model.
She believes her grandmother, Arlene Kelly, perished at their home in the Eaton fire.
I thought she would be like 99, you know, just walking around.
Their house of more than 40 years burned to the ground.
Are you worried as you rebuild that you won't be able to get insurance anymore?
Possibly, yeah.
Ooh,
It's
they're
difficult. Where do you even start?
7 of California's top 12 home
They're bringing up the
either paused
insurance
or limited
up too.
policies over the last 2 years. State Farm, which has 21% of the
State Farm just getting dragged through the mud right now.
market share in the state, announced in March it was making the difficult but necessary decisions that would mean not renewing 30,000 home policies in the state, ending 69% of its policies in the now.
The CEO over there is sitting, just going, whew, dodged a bullet with that one. Imagine if we had to insure all these homes. Imagine if we had to do the thing we were actually paid to do. Man, we're really lucky.
Now devastated Pacific Palisades.
Insurance in California is horrifying.
In Altadena, Dustin and Aaron Rubin say they were dropped from another insurance company last year. It was only last month they finally found a company that would give them coverage.
I wonder how many other people weren't able to get that policy at the 11th hour because you worked very hard to get it.
More and more Californians are turning to the state-created insurance provider of last resort called Fair Plan, a temporary safety net offering basic coverage when people can't get insured through private companies, with enrollment in home policies surging 123% in the past 4 years. Ricardo Lara is California's insurance commissioner.
Once people submit their claims, when should they expect to see the money?
So it all depends. I know it's difficult. A difficult answer. I want to make sure that we get it as quickly as possible. Weeks, if not a month.
Experts say those who have suffered a loss from the wildfires
Dub that guy if he's actually
expenditures,
working on that.
Photos and videos that can be used as evidence to show
One of
what
the
was in
few.
the home and document everything. Something many here are doing right now.
And the governor here in California telling me he expects these fires to be among the most costly disasters of our lifetime. So many losing everything, and the process of being made whole just getting started. Lester.
Liz, thank you for that. Finally tonight, the Palisades fire destroyed so many houses of worship, but one is still standing tonight, and our Jacob Soberoth is there.
Everything across the street from the synagogue burnt down, but the synagogue is still here. What's it like to see it?
Surreal.
Unbelievable.
For Rabbis Amy Bernstein and Daniel Schur and Cantor Chaim Frankel, seeing the Kehillat Israel synagogue standing amid so much devastation is staggering.
Look at this. This is the ash that came through the door?
Yeah.
Knowing what happened outside of these walls and seeing even just this piece is...
The remnants of the Palisades is right here.
Wow. This is the community in which I went to preschool.
Yes.
My siblings had their...
Dang, it looking pristine in there.
This is now a refuge for the entire community, not just the Jewish community.
You know what, Chaim? You could fill the sanctuary with your congregants who have lost their homes.
Correct.
Yes.
At least this home is standing for so many people.
This is gonna get me crying.
This is our home.
Oh, this one might be the one to do it.
And disaster strikes, we turn to our faith. And that's what this represents. I sing this lovingly for our community to heal.
It's nice that there's at least one positive note like this. There's at least one building for people to go to.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news.
Oh my God, they should have ended it there.
Top story.
They should have ended it there. I can't believe they brought him back on after that wholesome moment. Damn. But yeah, this one, I'm not Jewish, but I love their chants. Dude, that was beautiful. Man, after that roller coaster of news coverage, ending it on that, damn. That got me a little bit. Not even a little bit. Y'all almost saw me tear. Well, y'all saw me tearing up, but y'all almost saw me cry. Ooh. Yeah, I don't even have anything really else to add. I've had my eyes glued to this story for like the last couple of days. Oh. Yeah, it's my heart goes out to all those people. That's tough. All right, that's the last of the wildfires for today. We'll leave that at that. That's one. This is one for the history books. Let's take a look at Haktua. The 176 days she'll regret forever. Man, how about that for a transition? Just got done talking about the wildfires, and now we're looking at the Haktua girl. This is by Sunny V2.
Initially seemed to be a genius, turning her meme into Haley Welch initially seemed to be a genius, turning her meme into a career.
I don't know if I would say that anyone really thought she was a genius, because people got annoyed with it pretty quick. The initial video, like it's not really that funny, but I can see how other people found it funny. That's like, oh, I get it. I get how it spread. All right. No, pretty girl makes a silly dick sucking joke. It's very repeatable. All right. I get it. But I don't think you can call someone a genius for milking a meme dry.
That made hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, it only lasted up a career that made hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's a little lower than I thought it would be. And I bet that's what her managers thought too. They saw those numbers and went, that's high, but not high enough. I think we gotta pull a crypto scam here.
However, it only lasted 176 days.
Honestly, the fact that it lasted that long is pretty impressive.
It all began on this channel here, Tim and DTV. They had
the fact that people have no idea who this person is. I mean, he has 21,000 subscribers. That's still pretty big, but imagine making a video that blows up so big and people don't even know you for it. They just know the person you made it about.
just 21,000 subscribers, gained from doing street interviews in Nashville, Tennessee, where they'd meet two unknown people who were out having fun, Chelsea Bradford and her friend Haley Welch. With some drinks in their system, they answered basic questions.
How do you get over a breakup?
Only way to get over one is get under another.
Until the interviewer asked 12 words that changed the course of history.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk to and spit on that thing. You get me? Hawk to and spit on it. Spit on it.
Roughly 2 days later.
See, we don't need to talk about that voice crack. You did not hear that. No, we don't have. No. That didn't happen. Moving on. See, it's a silly little meme. It's a silly little meme, silly little video. You know, I giggled a little bit on the inside, having not seen it in a long time.
Later, on the 11th of June 2024, Darius reposted the snippet to his Instagram. Again, he had just a couple thousand followers, yet this didn't stop the algorithm from making the video viral. 18 million.
I didn't just hawk to a. That wasn't even a good impression of it. That was such an intense voice crack. Wow, that was a wild one. I heard that through my headphones.
Million views and almost 500,000 likes.
It's not gonna get any bigger than this. And I go back like an hour later and the views done went up by like 1 million. I was like, oh my God, there is no way that just happened.
The clips went equally viral on TikTok, where everybody clearly loved her. She's a total vibe. Protect this woman at all costs. Hawk tour for president. However, Haley was disappointed that this didn't translate to income.
Everybody else is making money off of it with merchandise, and he's making money off the videos. I was like, that's not fair. Like, it's me. Why am I not making any money?
It was therefore announced Hawk Tour official.
Make your own merch.
Authorized merchandise representing the Hawk Tour girl, so she is getting part of the proceeds. Get all of your apparel here. Haley had launched her own line of hats, selling for between $30 and $40 each. It took only 9 days.
That's an expensive hat. I have never bought a $30 hat. Nonetheless, a $40 hat. I've maybe spent $20 on a hat. Max.
Days before she'd announce, our infamous signed Hawk Tour hats are now sold out.
Sold out, damn.
Stone therefore reporting Hawk
merch
Tour
better.
Girl has already sold.
I'll start some up again eventually.
$65,000 worth of merch.
$65,000. That's pretty good considering. I mean, I don't know how long she was running it for, but you know, for a pretty short amount of time, that's pretty good.
Even Joe Rogan was keen to buy a piece.
She's making money. There's merch now. There's like Hawk 2 merch. Oh, I need to buy a shirt.
Look at her. She's signing fucking hats.
Only in America. Only in America.
Showing Haley she was able to commercialize the meme. There was just one problem. Nobody knew who she even was. The only information given was that her name was Haley Welch, which wasn't all that useful as she had no social media.
I was sitting there, I was giggling. I was like, they're like, where is she? I'm like, right here, but you don't know it.
Finding the Hawk Tour girl became a search for millions, with people stating on Instagram Osama bin Laden had less people looking for him. Some believe she was a preschool teacher, while others were certain she worked in a bar. However, both of these rumors were smashed when Haley addressed the public in her first podcast appearance.
I worked in a spring factory. I'm not a school teacher.
That was my next question, because everyone said that you were a teacher and got fired from your job.
A spring factory.
Haley further revealed she'd been offered some crazy money.
$600 like 3 days ago for me to spit in a jar and sell it. That is revolting.
And as a result, she'd hired herself a social media crew.
You have
Good
a
move.
management team. You have a manager.
That paid
you have
off.
a shooter. She comes in with like this big ass camera. Like she's the real deal. Already, this happened like a week ago.
Yes, ma'am.
But her capitalization began to repulse the audience. An entire management team in a week. Wild. The fact that she already has an entire management team is insane. You made a drunk joke, and the next day you have whole management behind you. This world is crazy.
I mean, that just makes sense. That's just a good move.
Concerts. While she began to sell merch on a much larger scale.
You already have a deal with Spencer's?
That's awesome.
Like every Spencer's everywhere.
What can I go buy at Spencer's?
Man.
I got shirts. I'm pretty sure.
She'd become friends with Jake Paul, tried to
Ooh, that's
trademark
tough.
the Huck to a phrase, and was suddenly being followed by TMZ.
Toes. They want pictures of my
Being
toes.
friends with
They
Jake
want
Paul,
pictures of
I'm
your
so
toes.
sorry.
I don't want to sell pictures of my toes.
Even Eminem used the phrase to promote his new album, whilst more than one person got a Huck to it.
Oh. Oh, yikes. You already know that these people are getting this covered up within the next year. Ooh, this is just poor decision making. I would cut my arm off, yeah. Or I guess this is a leg. Damn, it's so big too. Why so big? Man, I sound like my parents right now when they see my tattoos. Mine aren't even that big. Man, these people should have taken my parents' advice. Get it smaller so you can easily cover it up. And what's going on over with this one? Both of them are just bad in different ways.
A tattoo. She passed 1 million Instagram followers in less than 30 days and was being paid $30,000 just to appear at clubs. However, if you're given success without first going through hell, you'll find that the hell creates itself later. Her Instagram comments began to change rapidly.
I think that's pretty toxic. I think that's just people being jealous. I mean, obviously it is. I feel like you shouldn't have to go through hell to get money. Like a lot of people do, and it's well deserved. But I think it's fine if you just happen upon money. That's great. That's awesome. That's good for you. I'm happy for you. Now, if you end up being an asshole and doing bad things with that money, then that's a whole different story. But if you're just like a good person, you end up with money, yeah, sure. You shouldn't be raked over the coals just because you... I don't know if I even used that phrase right. Did I use that right? I don't know if I used that phrase right, but you know what I mean. You shouldn't... I don't think that's a fair criticism to judge people just because they happened upon money or happened upon fame. Like, you can say the original meme is a bit cringe, but get your bank.
Rapidly. Whilst they once read "she's a national treasure, keep this woman safe," they quickly transformed into "this has to stop. This is pathetic. Isn't this embarrassing? Disappointing ass world we live in. Making clowns famous part 1,062,000. Suddenly she had actual problems to deal with.
I have to convince my pawpaw not to shoot the paparazzi outside of our house every day because they've been camped out here for like 2 weeks.
Creating paranoia on a day-to-day
That would have been a crazy news story.
I can't really go in public by myself anymore. I'm paranoid of getting kidnapped or something.
Because there was a video of you with 5 security guards. Is that because you're paranoid about that?
Yes. And I'm little too, so I mean, I can't really defend myself.
Oh, yeah. If I was her, I'd be worried about getting kidnapped too.
It seems Haley had realized that fame kinda sucks.
What's the worst part about being famous?
Everybody looking at you when you walk into a room.
You don't like that?
No.
Does that feel unsafe a little bit?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
Although she continued to take advantage of it. She launched her own fanfics, which is like a safer work OnlyFans, and charged $10 a month to an unknown amount of subscribers. She'd also launched a dating app named Pookie Tools, which received amazing reviews such as disgusting. Haley wasn't lying when she answered.
No, I'll wait to say what I have to say.
I mean, any and everything, I guess.
Essentially doing anything that offered her a paycheck. This was further proven by the Talk Tour podcast, launched as a vehicle to promote Jake Paul's gambling company. The podcast was so terrible even Jake Paul himself roasted it.
Why did you decide to start Talk Tour? It's just stuff that has never been talked about.
He helped start it?
Science.
Jake Paul helped start it? Wait, hold. I gotta listen to this back.
The podcast was so terrible even Jake as a vehicle to promote Jake Paul's gambling company. The podcast was so terrible even Jake Paul himself roasted it.
Why did you decide to start Talk Tour? It's just stuff that...
So he was using it to help promote gambling? Oh my god. I didn't know that. That sheds a whole new light on this. You didn't know this? I didn't. I thought it was just Haley trying to make money. Jake Paul's got his hand in this too? What? What? My mind is blown. Whoa. Man. I don't even know where to start with that.
History, scientific, historic, revolutionary wisdom. It just
my hood's falling off. My hood's falling off.
And that type
I'm just gonna take it off at this
However,
point. Let's get the hair out of the ponytail.
Golden. My phone was at 1% when this was posted. I unplugged my grandma's life support to charge it. This podcast truly changed my life. Currently fighting on the front lines in Ukraine, and everyone has called truce to watch Ep 1 of the Talk Tour podcast. Amen.
I remember, at least early on, the Talk Tour podcast had as good of ratings on IMDb as Breaking Bad. I wonder where they're at now. Look at this. Still, no, I don't want to make an account. Still at 8.9. Despite all the hate. You got 9.2, 9.2. My earlier point was comparing it to Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is at a 9.5. That's where it was at before. But if we go down, look at some of the reviews. Best podcast ever. The skibbity aura this podcast gives me is unmoggable. No phantom tax can ever outriz me. Hawk Tua Girl is talking about her live. She no yapperholic or capaholic. Just a healthy amount of brain nourishment. A genre-defining masterpiece. Where should I start? Ever since Haley made an impact with the legendary phrase Hawk Tua, things were never the same. As soon as she announced her podcast, Talk to Her, I was looking everywhere for news. I couldn't wait for it to come out. I almost had a heart attack, but when it did, the world stopped. It was something else. Goon to Talk to Her, we're not reading that one. Beyond legendary, Talk to Her is a cosmic masterpiece that will change your life. One of the greatest pieces of media of our era. 4 out of 10. Absolute cinema. This one has a spoiler. Talk to Her cured my erectile dysfunction. I feel so enlightened. Absolute cinema. Humanity's greatest achievement. Generational. People just... what would be a good phrase for this? Just meme glazing this podcast? Like, it's dragged on long enough where I thought that the ratings would have gone down, but not even yet. That's wild.
I've stayed clean from drugs for over 30 years. Thank you, Talk to Her, for making me start again. These same trolls have given it an almost perfect IMDb.
Oh, there we go. We just checked.
The podcast a genre-defining masterpiece. Yet the show's
We just read that review.
Summarized by its crazy amount of dislikes. Haley's reputation clearly wasn't great, so when she'd host an episode with Mark Cuban, she probably should have avoided the following touchy subject.
Episode 12?
Do you do anything with crypto?
Yeah, I do a lot with crypto, actually. I've got a shit ton of Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Going back to the point of doing anything for money, it seems Haley was paid to shout out cryptocurrency.
So after I saw Michael Saylor speak at the Bitcoin conference, I have decided to start putting some money into crypto, and I just want to say, oh my God, thank you so much, Mr. Saylor.
And was more than willing to make her own token.
If I want to meme coin, can I give you some tokens?
Yeah, I'll give you my wallet.
Okay.
But are you sure you're gonna launch? I don't know. I'm not a big a fan about meme coins.
She'd take to Twitter showing her favorite meme coins, announcing a Huck to a token was
even Mark Cuban said he wasn't a fan.
On the 4th of December 2024, 176 days after she first went viral, Haley officially launched it.
My Hawk meme coin is live!
Yikes. You know, I wasn't defending her, but I thought she might have had much more of a hand in it than I thought. Because my assumption was just that her managers or her team came to her with this plan to make a meme coin, and she just signed off on it and you know, just did whatever they told her to do. I mean, that could still be the case, but it seemed like she was taking a little more initiative than I thought.
Despite calling it the Huck to a meme coin, its website reassured the audience Huck isn't just a meme coin, it's part of the culture. Haley is using her meme to unite her entire community. However, community notes instantly clarified. 96% of the Huck coin supply is in 10 connected addresses before the launch, essentially meaning just 10 people controlled the coin's price. When a user suggested the coin was likely a scam, Haley responded by stating fake news, but appreciate you trying to protect the community. However, it didn't take long before tweets started appearing. Lost 85% of an £1,100 investment. I lost 10k, bro, I got rugged. Just lost 286k on this. Don't trust MetaMask wallets.
Like, obviously Haley's at fault here, but I don't feel bad for these people either. You know what I mean? Like, if you're investing in a meme coin, I don't think it was a scam. It's gonna rise. Sure thing, buddy. Sure thing. I swear. Like, if you're in... I wonder if this person's just memeing, but these other people... I don't know. If that's real, like, I don't think I feel bad for you. If you really think investing in a meme coin that the Hawk Tua girl is launching is gonna be a positive investment for yourself, man, you guys just got naturally selected here.
286k on this.
That's what I have to say.
Don't trust MetaMask wallets. Haley's co-creator called these people mentally ill.
There's a lot of negativity in the space. I think crypto brings the mentally ill into this thing. If you guys are in crypto, you're most likely mentally ill. It's just a bunch of miserable people trying to farm engagement and hate.
With Haley herself blaming the losses on something they couldn't control.
We got snipe botted today, but we didn't sell a single token. But I just want to say, screw the sniper bots, and I'm not going anywhere.
CoffeeZilla joined and called the project.
This is one of the most...
And this is something that I don't think I initially really understood when we watched CoffeeZilla's video about it, when he was going in on these interviews, is it didn't really even matter if they didn't sell. I mean, that's up for debate. But they had such high transaction fees. They had a 17% transaction fee, I believe. They'll probably talk about it in the video in a moment here. But I mean, like, just from people trading in that short amount of time, they're still making millions of dollars off of those transaction fees. That's where a lot of the money came from.
Miserable, horrible launches I've ever seen in my life.
Okay, then why the fuck are you on?
Questioning how much money each founder made.
Someone just made over $1 million on fees. Who made it?
The creator.
Which is who?
That belongs to the
It's crazy how CoffeeZilla is at the forefront of every single one of these.
The worst tokenomics I've ever seen, and it is a scam.
It's not a scam.
The tokenomics are a scam. You can say what.
CoffeeZilla, he says it's not a scam. The case is closed.
Whatever you want about it, you can cry defamation. That's my opinion. It's a scam.
As the pressure mounted, Haley disappeared.
I hate to interrupt you, Nick, but anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Only brought back by a class action lawsuit launched by a dozen plaintiffs who claim to have collectively lost more than $150,000. To Haley's credit, she took responsibility, stating if you've experienced losses related.
Taking responsibility. Well, hold on. Let's read this. I take this situation extremely seriously and want to address my fans, the investors who have been affected, and the broader community. I am fully cooperating with and am committing to assisting the legal team representing the individuals impacted, as well as to help uncover the truth, hold the responsible parties accountable, and resolve this matter. If you have experienced losses related to this. Okay. So, I mean, on the surface, that's a pretty good statement. It just comes off as very corporate. It just comes off as, someone told her to say this, and so that's why she said it. It doesn't. Does she actually care? I don't know her. I don't know what she's thinking at this very moment. But this seems like, oh my God, why can't I even think of the phrase? It's just a very corporate statement. It just seems like the copy-paste statement that anyone would use in this situation.
To this, please contact.
Which isn't inherently bad, but
it seems she had no idea exactly what she was getting into.
It does come across as inauthentic.
If she put her name on it. Her Instagram hasn't helped either. The only post Haley's made since pulling the scam is a video of her taking a lavish holiday. Makes you wonder if this trip was funded by the meme coin proceeds. Enjoy your time before getting shipped off to prison.
Man, how crazy of a timeline do we live in? We live in a timeline where a girl made a dick joke, became a millionaire, and then might be facing legal action and potentially even prison. Our soon to be president wants to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Man, this is a wild timeline. Anyway, pretty good video from Sunny V2. Shed some light on some of Hawk Tua's shenanigans that I didn't actually know about. I'm still blown away by the fact that Logan Paul had a hand on, or not Logan Paul, Jake Paul had a hand in this. And, I guess I'm both blown away and not surprised at all. Anyway, let's move on to this video. This is video games that are basically perfect by Wyvern. So I'm just curious to see what this guy's opinions are on like what makes a perfect video game. He's gonna go through and give some examples. I'm not gonna scroll through to spoil it, but I'd say if I were to make a list of perfect video games, it would probably be Super Mario Galaxy, Half-Life 2, Portal 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Ocarina of Time, maybe? There's gotta be more, but nothing's really coming to mind. Hollow Knight, probably, yes. I'd probably put Hollow Knight. And while we're on Hollow Knight, I'd probably put just a lot of different FromSoft games on there. Probably Dark Souls 3, Probably Bloodborne could go on that list too. Maybe Sekiro. I'm tempted to put Elden Ring on that list, but I think that game has a pretty serious balancing issue. Like, people are gonna hear that and just be like, just get good, bro. Just get good. Or, you know, like in that game, obviously you're allowed to explore and level up your character and come back to a boss. But I mean, even if you do all that, bosses are hitting you for entire health bars. It's kind of messed up. So, I mean, even though that game is kind of the pinnacle of what FromSoft has been working on with the entire Souls series, I don't know if I can put it on a list of perfect games. But I do think Dark Souls 3 is pretty close to perfect. So I guess that list is basically just, these games are defined by the fact that they're, I would say, unique experiences for their time at least. And they accomplish everything that they set out to do with very few missteps. I don't mind a couple missteps, like a couple bugs, sure. And that's why he would say basically perfect. Because no game is really perfect. It's hard to say something's perfect when it's such a subjective, topic. But basically perfect describes a lot of those games. Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2. That's another one. Yeah, that one's pretty perfect. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. Add that to the list.
I've always said that no video game is truly perfect. And
there you go.
No
game is truly perfect, but basically perfect.
Out there that are so good that they honestly make me rethink my opinion, let alone the fact that there's
And I put Ocarina of Time on the list over Majora's Mask, even though I think Majora's Mask is more technically interesting. I find the story more interesting. I think it's a little less accessible across the board to many people. And I hate for that to be a criteria of a basically perfect game, but I think it doesn't necessarily have to have a wide appeal, or like it doesn't have to necessarily appeal to everyone, but it should probably be pretty well regarded across the board.
There that are so good that they honestly make me rethink my opinion, let alone the fact that there's also games that just don't have any noticeable issues at all, and thus
just no noticeable issues.
Today I want to go over some games that I think could be basically
Hollow Knight, yeah,
flawless.
definitely on the list.
That doesn't mean they're truly without flaws. It just means they're so incredibly close that they might as well be. Here's some ground rules so that we're on the same page. Also, if you have any suggestions,
Super Mario Galaxy, hell yeah,
video,
absolutely.
Let me know in the comments, and I'll reply
Best
with
Mario
my
game.
thoughts. And with that, let's begin. Let's start with one of the best-selling games of all time, Tetris.
Oh, Tetris, yeah, put that on the list.
I've completely forgotten how to play Tetris. And you might be saying, how the hell do you forget to play Tetris? It's Tetris. I really don't have a good reason other than it's just been so long. Now, this is a puzzle game, so the question is, does it have any issues? Not really. I mean, with games
No, it's a
like
simple
these,
game.
they're so
It was unique
simple,
for its
yet
time.
Still so fun. So it's almost impossible to mess
And there's
them
basically,
up with bad
there's
mechanics.
like,
So
there's
is
no issues
Tetris
with it really.
technically perfect? It might be. You'll have to let me know what you think down below. Here we have another puzzle game.
Yeah, Portal.
This one is a lot more advanced. Portal is a unanimously loved puzzle game from 2007 with...
It's interesting that he's doing Portal and not Portal 2. Because Portal 2, I feel like, is a more complete experience. Portal feels like the demo to Portal 2. Portal was just so short. I mean, what was there was really good. Hard to say that there were any flaws, any significant flaws, at least within the 2 to 3 hour experience that Portal is. But Portal 2 is just a much more complete package. It has a much more interesting story. The puzzles, I would say, are more interesting, although the puzzles in the first game aren't too bad either. In fact, the puzzles in the first game are really good. It just takes a different turn with its series of events.
With its simple yet so addicting mechanic of creating interdimensional portals to
It's crazy
progress to
that
the
this
next
isn't a
room.
mechanic
I finally got to
that
play
we've
this
seen
game
more of.
earlier this year, and I beat the whole thing in one sitting. I've never really been a huge fan of puzzles until games like this. There's just absolutely nothing bad about the game. Sure,
There's nothing bad about it,
game, but I
and
prefer
there's
it
nothing
that
like
way.
it.
I think it's cool to see what they can do with a 3 to 4 hour time frame. It's definitely easier to make
And it's
shorter
simple
games
enough
perfect, though,
to be
because there's less
played by
mechanics in the game
anyone.
that can end up being badly designed. So
But it's
is Portal
complex
a
enough
perfect game? Let me
to
know. Next we have
feel
Super
interesting
Mario
to-
Brothers 3, a game that was once upon a time
to
considered
even, like,
the greatest game
people who are
ever, but
really
that
good
was
at
30
puzzles.
years ago now.
I played Mario 3. I wasn't super impressed by it, but I was also 8.
Does it still hold up as a masterpiece? In my opinion, yes. Especially
Paled
if you're
in
playing the
comparison to
All-Stars
Super
version or
Mario
the Game Boy
Galaxy.
Advance version. The game
I'll say that
introduced
much.
so many key features that we now know from this franchise. World maps, Koopalings, airship levels. I mean, you don't need me to tell you it's an iconic game. A lot of people prefer Super Mario World, and I definitely can't blame you, as we'll talk about that one later. I think Mario Bros. 3 is for sure the greatest NES game of all time, but is it a perfect game?
Greatest on the
I definitely
NES?
see there being a couple nitpicky issues about this game. Whether you
Maybe,
don't like
yeah.
a few of the levels or the mini games
Mario
or what have
Odyssey
you,
better.
I'd love to hear what you
I haven't
think.
even played
Moving
that
on
one.
to another 2D platformer,
I want to.
but this time from the Super Nintendo, Donkey Kong Country.
I heard Donkey Kong Country is full of bullshit. Like, it's a good game, but some of the levels are just like, why is this like this? I could be wrong. That's just the impression I got. Platformers used to be really hard.
Through my mom's childhood game. As somebody who grew up with the newer Donkey Kong games, I absolutely love this one as well. The difficulty balance in this original game is phenomenal. It just feels like it has a perfect difficulty curve as you get deeper into the game. I also think the graphics are incredible, not just for the Super Nintendo, but even
Maybe I was just
nowadays.
listening to
It's just so
plebs who
fun to
weren't
look
good at video
These
games.
early 3D renders are just so pleasant and charming. The game had breathtaking graphics for its time, and fun and unique graphics for today. You could also play the game with 2 players, although only one player can control the game at a time. And the soundtrack, don't even get me started. Some of the best atmospheric tracks in any platformer. Anyway, there are a few nitpicky issues I have with this game. First is the bosses are average at best, a lot of them being straight up bad. Second is that after you beat a boss and move on to the next area, you might not be able to save your game until you beat a few more levels and unlock the save point for that area. Some people see this as a good challenge. I saw it as tedious artificial difficulty. You should be able to save after each level. That's what beating the level means.
That
You
is pretty
beat it,
artificial.
You should be able to move on. And the reason I didn't criticize Mario Brothers 3 for this is that I'm not too sure they were able to do this on NES hardware, whereas the Super Nintendo could absolutely do this. Anyway, we spent a lot of time on this one, so let's move on. Now look, there may be some bias in this pick because this is my favorite game of all time, but Red Dead Redemption is as amazing as video games get. I've played through this game
I've played the first mission of Red Dead Redemption, and not anymore because I got a little bored of it. And it's not even because it's a bad game. It's just by the time I got to Red Dead Redemption, I don't think Red Dead 2 was out yet, but we were definitely closing in on that time. So by this point, it had just aged so much that I didn't take much interest in it. But I think I could go back to it and enjoy it.
at least 6 times, played through the DLC twice. I just love it more and more every time I pick it up again. You play as John Marston, a former outlaw looking to pay the government back for his past sins, and he does this by hunting down his former friends. In this game, you'll experience shootouts, horse racing, duels, all the Wild West cliches. If there's one thing to criticize, it's the difficulty being pretty easy, but there is actually a harder difficulty which is honestly much more balanced, but I still think the normal mode is fine. The world map isn't as big as it is in the second game, but it's still my preference because it includes my favorite area of the game, Mexico. Atmospheric music is also a huge reason why this game's open world is so great. With its good storytelling, great gameplay, and great side content, there's not too much this game fails at. Let me know if you've played Red Dead Redemption, and what are some things you don't like about the game.
It's not Red Dead 2.
Mario: The Thousand Year Door finally released on Nintendo Switch this year. It was my first time beating a game from this series, and even though I've never really been a fan
I've never played this one.
The game blew me away with how unnecessarily flawless it felt. It's definitely the game you should play first if you're looking to get into this series.
I played Super Paper Mario.
I don't think it'll ever be one of my personal favorite RPGs.
I remember enjoying that a lot, but I never finished it because
There's basically nothing I can criticize.
I got confused
but that won't stop
by
me from
a certain point
you
in
see,
the game. I couldn't figure out how to get past it.
But guess what? The same thing can be said for almost every single role-playing game ever made. It's not even really an objectively bad start of the game either. It's just not as stimulating as the rest of it, and that's to be expected. I don't have anything else to critique. The combat's great, the art style's great, the characters are great, the music is great. It's an awesome RPG and one you should play. Is it a perfect game? It's definitely possible, and I don't really have any complaints about it. Next, we have Metroid Prime. And look, it's been over a year since I began my playthrough of this game, so I don't remember everything about it. I remember how
I haven't played the first Metroid Prime or the second. God, the remaster came out on the Switch. I should probably pick that up. But I have played Metroid Prime 3. Oh my god, I loved that game as a kid. I think the story definitely went over my head. I remember some of the boss fights being a little tedious. But, I mean, Metroid Prime 3, oh my god, I miss the Metroid series so much. I can't wait for Metroid 4.
Having to
Metroid
look up
Prime
a ton
4.
of walkthroughs for the game because at the time, I hadn't played through a ton of retro games, so I guess I was just used to how modern games hold your hand constantly. The game is a masterpiece though. Throughout my playthrough, I did not encounter a single area of the game that I considered to be badly designed. Even in some of the areas where I was getting stuck,
Man, maybe I should make a video like this.
or didn't know what to do at a boss fight, it was my own fault. This is arguably the most immersive video game ever made, and that's saying a lot with the types of games we have
Most
nowadays.
immersive?
Its world is simply breathtaking, especially for the time. I mean, this is natively a GameCube game, and it still looks better than most Nintendo Switch games. It's a damn shame Metroid games never sell well.
That's true. Hold on. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm forgetting that it's on the GameCube. Like, I don't know if this is... Like, this is game... I don't know if this is GameCube footage or if this is the Switch remaster, but regardless, like, that's good. This is really good looking.
Better than most
all things considered.
Switch games. It's a damn shame Metroid games never sell well. They deserve so much better. Let's talk about a game you might have not expected to be on this list. It's a game that's bundled in with every PlayStation 5 console, Astro's Playroom. If you have a
if this
PlayStation
is
5, you've
let's
probably
see,
given this game a try.
5 months
as it
ago.
comes without cost.
I don't think
And if you only
Astrobot
played
was
a few
out
minutes
5
of
months
it, you
ago.
might just think it's a
If
silly
it was, that
little
would
tech
probably
demo to show off
replace
the
this spot
capabilities
on
of
the
the new
list.
controller. And yeah, that's the main point of the game, but it's
I haven't played Astrobot, but damn, people seem to love it.
It's a 3D platformer that looks and plays incredibly smooth. There's only a few stages, but each and every one of them are designed extremely well. It took me only a few hours to beat the game and get
just
the platinum
insert
trophy,
Astrobot
but it was a
into
great way
this.
to celebrate my purchase of the console. Why won't Sony make more games like this? Well, the
They
truth
did.
is, they're working on a new Astrobot game that I'm very excited for.
Oh, yep, there you go.
This game, it's probably the best tech demo of all time. It's an underrated gem, I'm telling you. Next, we have a game that I have absolutely no clue how I'm going to get footage for, and that's The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Now look, I played through this game earlier
Good for him for actually going out and getting footage for this.
100% original hardware, using one of my dad's old CRT TVs, because if you know anything about retro games, they look pretty choppy on modern televisions. And even though I was playing a game from 1998 and using a TV from like 1988, it was still the best gaming experience I've had this year. Everything people say,
like, this is literally what it looks like playing it on an HD TV. God, it looks so nasty and gross. It's hard to look at. It's all blurry. Because the thing is, it was designed to be played on TVs from like older TVs from the 1990s that didn't have all like the HD pixels and whatnot.
Say about this game online is absolutely
We need Sony to
true
do something
even
with
to this
Bloodborne, even
day.
just a
Not only
remaster.
did this game revolutionize video game combat, but
Yeah, playing that game in 30
revolutionized video
FPS
game
is
adventure
gross.
as well. And that central gimmick of
And
traveling.
the thing is, like, frame rate isn't even that, like, it's not a huge deal to me in games. Like, it matters to me. I'd prefer to, hit 60 FPS on PC, especially if we can hit 120, great. But you know, if a game is 30 FPS, I'm not going to be hung up on it. Like, God of War played in 30 FPS, and that was perfectly fine. But for a game like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or any of those FromSoft games where, you know, timing is everything, your frames matter. Like, playing one of the FromSoft games on sluggish hardware is so difficult. Like, the frames matter in those games, and to be stuck in 30 frames per second on Bloodborne is tough.
Between
It's
the
such a
future
shame.
and the past multiple times throughout the game. I know it was kind of similar to the Light World and Dark World from the previous game, but it's still an amazing gameplay feature. Basically everything about this game.
Oh, damn, look at that.
It's really impressive to me. You know how most RPG
He's
games
emulating
have
that
very
there,
slow starts.
for sure.
This game puts you right into the first dungeon 10 minutes into the game. Granted, you have to find a sword and shield first. It's just seriously immaculate game design even for today. However, I do have a couple criticisms. The frame rate is inconsistent in some areas, some of the bosses are not very good, and the water temple is a really cool dungeon, but really suffers from that pause and unpause the game mechanic. So I actually don't think this—
Yeah, I actually didn't hate the water temple too much when I first played this. Like, it's definitely inferior to the other dungeons. It really, the main point that it suffered on was having to go into the menu so much and having to, like, go and change the water level, but it wasn't like, that wasn't really a huge deal to me when I played, and I played this game when I was like 10.
This version of the game is perfect. However, what about the 3DS version? It completely fixes the water temple and the frame rate, but some of the bosses are still not very good, and I still think I prefer the N64 version anyway, mostly for the novelty. This is still a top 3 video game of all time in my opinion.
It's good that there's a 3D remaster, but
these really early 3D games even came close to
it kind of
being
loses its
perfect.
charm for me.
Moving on to a
Playing
Wii
on the
U game of
3DS.
all things, Super Mario 3D World. Now this might sound
I've never played this
confusing,
one.
but I actually don't think this is the best 3D Mario game. I think
Definitely
both
not.
Galaxy games and Odyssey are better overall games, but at the same time, I just think 3D World is the closest to being perfect because it does everything it sets out to do. It's a perfect 3D
I would say so does
Mario
Super Mario
multiplayer
Galaxy.
experience. It's just a very well-designed platformer that you can experience
it's more unique.
with friends. That's what it is, and that's all it ever needed to be. I guess one issue you could point out is some of the stages are reused. That's really the only thing I have to complain about. It's an awesome game, and unfortunately, I don't have much else to say. And once again, if you're confused on why I'm featuring it in the video, while also saying it's not better than the other 3D games, I think the experience of the Galaxy games is just so much better. Yet 3D World is very smooth and solid in comparison. I just wanted to further explain why I chose this.
I don't know, I never
video,
thought that
so let's
Super
go ahead and
Mario
move on to the
Galaxy
next one. Now, if you've been
wasn't
watching my
smooth.
channel for a while, you
I think my one complaint about Super Mario Galaxy was those goddamn stingray levels, or whatever levels that was, whatever animal you had to ride on in the water. I hated those levels. Oh my god, I struggled so hard on those levels trying to get past them as a kid. The rolling, there were also levels where you had to like walk on a rolling ball. Those were really difficult too, but those were like actually fun. The water races though, I could not forgive it. That's my one complaint about Super Mario Galaxy.
You know about Hollow Knight already. It's a game that basically revived the Metroidvania genre when it was released in 2017. The Metroidvania genre was a dying breed,
Hollow Knight is
living mostly off the contributions of its long-lost ancestors, while getting a couple truly
I think I have
games
zero
every few
complaints
years.
about Hollow
Hollow
Knight.
Knight is the best Metroidvania that I have ever.
It's hard to jump into. Like, I don't play a lot of Metroidvanias, so when I first played Hollow Knight, I was just kind of lost and confused and didn't really know what I was doing. But once I like got past that ledge, got over that little learning hump, it's a pretty perfect game.
Played, as it takes the best things about Metroidvania,
Great boss fights,
and
great
adds
boss,
modern improvements, great overall
great
gameplay,
boss fights,
phenomenal bosses, unique graphical style, hours upon hours of content,
great art,
music, all for the
and the fact that it's
criminally
made
low
by
price
just a
of
handful of people.
$15. You might remember that I actually made a dedicated video on whether or not Hollow Knight is a perfect game. Honestly, there's just one thing.
One more game I want to add to my list of perfect games, probably Undertale. Like, it's not the most remarkable RPG on the planet, but I think it's just like so well put together, so well written. Every character is so lovable. I apologize for mixing up words. It's a little late. We're closing in on my bedtime here, so I'm struggling to speak, but yeah, I'll add Undertale to my list of perfect games.
Thing about this game that I think we should all be able to agree on, and that's charms. Charms are different abilities you can equip in order to
Undertale's great, but it's very hard.
effects.
It's very hard if
Some
you
of the
make it
charms in the
hard
game
by
are
taking the hard
incredible,
route.
and some are completely awful. Yep, that's my only semi-big problem with the game. The charms are not balanced well at all. But I mean, there's still...
I think I agree with this. Like, there were some charms that were almost too useful. And then some charms were just incredibly pointless.
Still definitely room to choose your own favorites. Overall, the game is amazing, but I think it's ever so slightly not perfect. Since we're on the topic of Metroidvanias, let's talk about another one of my favorites, The Messenger. The Messenger is a game I've been talking about on the channel lately because I think its game design is absolutely immaculate. When you begin playing the game, it seems like it's just a ripoff of Ninja Gaiden, but with some modern day improvements like better controls and whatnot. Then you get thrown a curveball, and a few hours into the game, you're in a 16-bit environment now. And when you think the game won't possibly be able to blow you away for a second time, then the game goes from being a linear action platformer to a full-blown Metroidvania with tons of secrets to go back and find. And if that sounds boring, trust me, it's not. People usually hate when games make you backtrack, but in The Messenger, it's done so incredibly well because the stages change without actually changing, if that makes any sense. The stages don't change, but the nature of how you play through those stages do change. It's just a remarkable video game that really deserves more credit than it gets.
Seems interesting.
I can see why people are less interested in this game as opposed to Hollow Knight because the game has way less content, but for me, it's not about how long a game takes, it's about how fun it is. In terms of issues, I have one minor issue with The Messenger. The enemies in this game are very, and I mean very, repetitive. The stages do still have their own unique enemies, but there's still repeated enemies in almost every stage, and it just makes them less special. Other than that, what an underrated game The Messenger is. Next up is another all-time classic, Super Mario World. Other than maybe the graphics and controls,
I've always wanted to play this one, and I just never got around to
but
it.
It doesn't do that much worse either. I think the criticism I have
when I was younger, I used to play a lot of classic games.
It's not the level design itself that's repetitive. It's actually very.
I even played Super Mario 3.
There's too many basic
but
levels.
I never got around to this one for whatever reason.
Just not enough unique-looking areas, in my opinion. It makes the atmosphere of this game kind of boring. This is still the second best 2D Mario game, I think. Just not absolutely perfect if you care about the problem I just went over. There's not much else to say other than it's another game that's close to being perfect.
I always thought Mario's design was weird in this one.
The game is almost perfect.
You should stream a Mario game.
There's just that one thing I don't
Would we
like about
prefer
it, which
a 2D one or a 3D one?
Isn't really a big deal because it doesn't even.
It's something I've thought about.
One thing I actually do love about the game is the secret exits. They're extremely well done in this game and paved the way for them to bring this feature back in the newer games. So that's definitely something to thank it for. Moving on to the best game of the 2010s, at least in my opinion, Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I said that the original Red Dead Redemption is my favorite game ever, but what I didn't mention is that it's also due to nostalgia. I played that game with my dad when I was like 6 years old, but I actually think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a better overall game in a lot of ways. The first game has better gameplay as it's more so about arcade gameplay instead of realism, but the second game has a much better story, better characters, better open world, and absolutely way more content. Red Dead Redemption 2 has some of the best moments in the video game story, and is the reason I think it has the best story out of any game ever. Now, since this game has much more content than the original, that opens the door to more noticeable issues.
I mean, we can always do both at some point.
I don't think this means the game is worse. I just think it has more issues while also having more positives at the same time. The second game...
The end game is a bit of a slog, I'll say. Like, the story carries throughout the entire game, but the missions themselves, I feel like, just kind of start to drag by the time you hit the 30-40 hour mark.
Just ends up having a much higher ceiling than the original. Some of my issues with it, however, include missable items and missions, ridiculous RNG-based challenges. An open-world adventure game that's as big as Red Dead 2 is always gonna have a couple nitpicky issues like this, so no surprise there. But the RNG-based challenges are the main reason.
Okay, so like the last, like the very last leg of the game, very good. I'm talking about like I'm talking about, you know, if we broke it up into fourths, all right? First fourth of the game, great, amazing, incredible. Second fourth of the game, still pretty good, going solid. Third fourth of the game, you know, you're stuck out on an island for a while. You're kind of just doing like similar missions that you've done before. Still good. Like it's not bad. It's just, you know, you've already been playing the same game for 40 some hours. But once we hit the last leg of the very last leg of the game, it picks up again because the story starts to pick up.
Ever want to 100% this game, and that's pretty much it. This game,
yeah,
isn't
some
perfect,
chapters,
but still one of the best games.
Like closing in on the end, just
and
felt
for the
slower.
last game of the video, let's talk about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. This is a video game that I am almost unable to criticize. It's not only the best
I've heard
Donkey
very
Kong
good things
Country
about
game,
this,
but the best 2D platformer I have ever played. With its phenomenal level design, great bosses, great art style, phenomenal soundtrack. It's just the epitome of
man. Forget Mario. Let's play Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
I almost forgot to even mention it. This is one of those games where if I didn't include it, I'd look like the biggest moron on the planet. This is a video game that you simply need to include in a video like this, assuming you played it. Since this is a video about
I say that I don't even.
issues,
I haven't even played it. I wouldn't know.
Nitpicky thing about the game, and it's about the characters you play as. I think Diddy Kong is not very good.
This game has Funky Kong. There you go, 10 out of 10.
Ability, except way better. I wish Diddy Kong was buffed a bit. Other than that, this game is basically uncriticizable. Still, since the characters aren't completely balanced, it's technically not a perfect video game. Alright, well that was the list. So let's come up with a conclusion before we end the video. Video games can theoretically be perfect. However, due to how extremely complicated they are, it's almost impossible. Sure, games with much smaller scopes can technically have zero issues, but if you're making a huge game with tons of content, weapons, items, characters, it's statistically impossible for you to create a game with legitimately zero issues. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. If we can reach
Yeah, and the thing is, it's never gonna appeal to everyone. Some people just don't like certain things, and that's how it is. Maybe like you could probably argue that that's not like, no, that doesn't make the game imperfect. In my mind, that's just like it's a minor factor, but it's still a factor, is the mass appeal. But anyway, interesting video by Wyvern. I'll give that a like. Good stuff, good stuff. Not the exact list I would have made, but I agree with most of it. There were a couple games like The Messenger I had never even heard of. But, I mean, for the most part, that's a solid list. Hard to argue with most of those. You made a part 2. Maybe we'll go over that another time. I don't really want to go over this one tonight. What time is it? 9 o'clock. I think we'll just wrap that up there. I've got other videos that we could potentially watch. We'll farm those in the future. But I'm getting a little tired. Commentary struggling a little bit. We'll wrap that up there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I had an absolute blast today. I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And I'll see you later in another stream. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Y'all have a good night. Sleep well.